Hey, what's up, Bromios and Bromiettes? I'm here making another video somehow. I've been noticing a rising conspiracy theory for the past year or so, and it's one that I just think is one of the dumbest ones in the entire Pokemon hobby. And no, I'm just going to warn you right now, it's not going to be some big sensational one, something like, and when you start doing your own research, you notice that all the energies are the color of the rainbow. Well, some shadowy figures from the Holland Research Group or something, I don't know, you can look this stuff up yourself, have devised something called a rainbow energy, and oh man, that's just a gay bomb, baby. And I already know what you're thinking. Oh, you're just complaining because you don't like gay Pokemon. I don't like them putting chemicals in the energy. They're turning the frickin' my kid's gay. Yeah, it's not going to be that. It's going to be something about the Pokemon TCG, actually. This whole dumb conspiracy theory about how the Pokemon Company is secretly printing more vintage product and giving it out to influencers. Yeah, I'm going to be bashing into this conspiracy a little bit to basically say that no, Pokemon is not reprinting vintage product for influencers. So let's go over one of the points that these Poke theorists make when it comes to these vintage sets. The whole idea of there's just so much of it still out there. How could that be? Well, let's think about that for a second. If there is so much product out there, that means that once upon a time, there must have been a big demand for that product. So they had to create a lot of it in order to help try to satiate that demand. I wonder what was going on around that time that would have made demand so high. What time period was that going on in the late 90s that made everyone so ravenous for Pokemon? Oh, Pokemania? You ever heard of Pokemania? Do you remember the time of Pokemania? I do. I remember seeing Pikachu's stupid face on everything imaginable, from pancake mix to Pop-Tarts to toothpaste. No, everyone and their damn dog was all about Pikachu this, Blastoise that, Snorlax this. Yeah, the coolest kids on the block had the Pokemon bed sheets at home. I had those Pokemon bed sheets too. I had those bad boys, and guess what? Everyone still really didn't like me. Hell, Pokemon cards were hard to get during that time. Yeah, people were even pulling out pew-pews trying to get a hold of some Pokemon cards to turn around and resell for higher prices. Yeah, this is nothing new that we're going through right now. But it is a lot more degenerate because technology advanced. Thanks, technology. But not only that, question this. Why did they make a reprint set after only 3 sets? Why would Wizards of the Coast do that? Maybe because they couldn't keep up with demand. Maybe because base set allocations had finally started to kind of run out and people still needed base set cards for their Haymaker decks or whatever meta decks were going around at that time. Why do you think that base set 2 is one of the cheapest WotC era booster packs that you can purchase, even though it has that super duper fudgy wudgy creamy weemy freaking Mitsuhiro Rita Charizard inside of it? It's because they were everywhere, because they were designed with the sole purpose of meeting demand. Why do you think it's those first-gen booster packs that you see so much more than everyone else, but you don't really see the Gen 3 and Gen 2 packs as much? Maybe because Pokemon was starting to wane out of that time period and be less popular as it entered the 2000s. It's like these conspiracy theorists are so close to connecting the dots, and then they just decide to scribble all over the damn paper and draw a giant wiener on it. But no, they're still secretly printing more stuff. Why would they even want to secretly print more stuff when they can't even make money off of the sales of these vintage cards to begin with? It might generate some hype, but it doesn't mean the average Joe Schmo McBlow can get some of those older cards. So let me get to my next point on this one, which kind of goes over one thing, being, have you seen the security at the Pokemon facilities where they print these cards? To say the least, the security in these places is poopy. If they were actually reprinting these sets to give out to people, you're really telling me there wouldn't have already been a story breaking of some random bloke who had 300 suspiciously minty Zards that he brought to some random card shop in Texas trying to make a big profit? Yeah, I think I've only got one thing to say to that. Hello? Oh, hey, Shenanigans, how you been doing? Unless they are going to reprint these sets for the masses, there's no real reason why the Pokemon Company would want to reprint these sets. And who's to say they even have the full rights to reprint some of these older sets? This is Wizards of the Coast era. There's probably some legal crap they got to go through with Wizards of the Coast for some of these sets, especially because some of the Wizards of the Coast artists made some of the cards in these sets or as promotional items. Looking at you, Mewtwo from Legendary Collection by Christopher Rush. Still a really good card, by the way. I don't know. I've just seen this theory thrown around on multiple videos from other content creators opening vintage packs. I saw it a bunch on my video where I showed a kid pulling a Zard at Card Party Seattle. People were saying, oh, they must have gotten all these packs from Pokemon. Oh, somebody's hooking up Deep Pocket Monster with some good, nice vintage stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty sure some vendors are hooking him up with some nice stuff, and he's giving them a nice paycheck in order to get that nice stuff. Believe that there is some secret ploy by the Pokemon Company to try to indoctrinate the youth into buying vintage cards or something. I don't know. I know it's really hard for people to sometimes do, but try to rub two brain cells together. I promise life goes a lot smoother if you do that. Anyways, I'll see you guys whenever I finally feel like making another video. Bye bye.